Small farms are prime habitat for barn owls, which roost, nest, and hunt in their silos and haylofts. A pair of owls can snag more mice in a day than a pride of barn cats. But the large steel buildings of modern farms shut out barn owls, and their population is dwindling worldwide. But luckily, they have allies like Loretta Jones at Hawk Creek Wildlife Center in Aurora, New York.
I've always been very passionate about animals, especially wildlife. I actually had my first rehab patient when I was 7 years old. It escalated in the late 80s when the neighbors started bringing me animals, so it then became my main focus in my life, and I founded Hawk Creek Wildlife Center about a year later. Our mission at that time was to rehabilitate injured and orphaned wildlife and release them back to the wild. Our wildlife really focused on birds, mainly on birds, and especially on raptors. I felt raptors were really important because they were predators like man, and they both shared the same seat on top of the food chain. And we had a lot to learn from them because they're really barometers of the environment. They're pretty much like the canaries in the coal mine. And we have a lot to learn, so we take that information, we learn how man is impacting the environment, and we take that into this classroom.
With the help of invalid hawks and owls, each year Jones and Hawk Creek volunteers deliver hundreds of educational programs to more than 200,000 people of all ages. They unravel the key role of raptors in the ecosystem. But Jones and colleagues wanted to do more by helping a threatened species to recover in their region.
Could eat about a dozen mice himself that day.
We decided that we were going to breed raptors and release them back into the wild, and we wanted to pick somebody who was rare. And the barn owl is one of the rarest raptors in western New York, and it just kind of really fit in with the fact that the Buffalo Ornithological Society had just placed 100 boxes into western New York. And Artemis here is a result of that breeding project.
But first, she had to find a pair of barn owls to breed.
We were able to get them from Sam Fox in Arizona, and ironically they arrived on a cold, chilly, snowy January night in the dark with a coffin, and I thought that was pretty ironic because the barn owl was also nicknamed the ghost owl. We set them up in the spring, and we were just amazed that they actually produced 2 baby barn owls that first year. Our record year was in 1998 when we actually had 22 barn owls that we released back into the wild. And along at that time, we also started seeing patients coming in. We haven't had any patients in western New York in 20 years. We had 5 actually that came from Rochester, 2 arrived dead. And in 1999, there were 6 that were found just in a neighboring town, and they were in for rehab and all released back into the wild.
But the project nearly had to be shut down the same year due to money problems.
We were actually ready to fold. We were saved at the last minute by a generous donation from a local company, and also we won an award from the International Association of Avian Trainers and Educators and a nice check that went along with it, and it literally saved the project.
Crisis or not, Jones tries to stay focused on the needs of wildlife year-round.
We're moving the barn owls back here, so we need to build them a more private place to reside in. So we have to put up 2 sides that are completely enclosed, and then the opening will have a westernly and an eastern exposure to get some sunlight in.
With the help of a good home and expert care, the barn owls at Hawk Creek may produce another 200 or more offspring for release in the next decade. But it isn't just big numbers that Jones is after.
Why do I continue? To be able to see a crippled bird, a beautiful bird, fly free again, to see an intern get a job in a field that they love, the look in a child's eye, the smile in their face when we bring the animals into the classroom. And there's probably a longer list.
Including the hope that soon barn owls will again cruise the fields and barns of western New York.
you.